Hello, everyone, and welcome to the product sustainability space for the EB Academy. As promised yesterday, I will go a little bit deeper into product sustainability because it's an important topic for you as VP Finance to know. So I prepared some slides for you, and let's get right into it. So as I already showed yesterday, you have your product sustainability as part of finance standards and specifically under the sustainability standard for each product to be in sustainability level 2. Well, here it quickly describes what is product sustainability level 2. It's when the profit of a product is higher than its direct plus indirect costs. This is not completely true. In the end, it just means that your profit is that your revenues from your products are more than your direct plus indirect costs. And I will show you that the products are different fruits, right? In the end, if you're working in a store, you need to be able to cover all of your costs that you're having from the different kind of products that you're offering. Because imagine that there's a year in which you cannot sell grapes and you cannot sell melons because of a bad year for the farm. It still means that the other ones should be sold for a profit that can cover for your total costs. So I'm going to show you more specifically how it works. And for the example, we're going to take IGE, right? So on level 0, we are losing money for every IGE that we're approving. And that is because the income cannot even cover for its own costs and increase income. For example, you can see that the total IGE costs are larger than the total IGE income. And this very simply means that, this is the number consolidated of the full entity, right? So you have the LC, you have the specified unit, you have the second LC, you have the MC, and in total it is lower. So here you're very unsustainable. You're losing money on every exchange that you're doing. Now going to level 1, it means that your product costs are higher than your product income. So a big difference between these slides is that in the second case, in the case of level 1, that actually the LC income, LC1 IG income and LC2 IG income are higher than the LC1 IGE costs and LC2 IGE costs. And this means that every LC has to have this higher to be in level 1. So this means that we can pay for IGE to be run, right? And this is amazing because this is where it all starts. If you're able to cover for your costs with your product, then you can look further and see what does it mean for organizational costs. Because as an organization, we are not just making costs in, for example, promotion for our exchange, or in case we need to cover for accommodation of our EPs, that we can just cover that. No, it goes a little step further because we also need to cover for our indirect costs. And what are indirect costs? Indirect costs are costs that you cannot directly relate to a specific product. Take, for example, if you have an office and you need to pay rent for the office, it's an indirect cost because you cannot just say, I'm paying for this I'm paying for my office from all the money that I'm getting from IGE. No, this needs to be equally distributed across your products according to a couple of different factors, right? So when it's level 2, it means that you're not just able to, your income is not just higher than your income costs, but also higher than the indirect costs your product needs to take. And that goes a little step further, which I'll explain to you in a bit. But the reason why this is so important that we have this equally distributed over our products is because a lot of entities in ISAC are running some outgoing exchange products and incoming exchange products. But when it comes to, for example, OGV, we often see that we're making a large profit on this product. And the reason why we're making a lot of profit on this product is because the costs related to it are often extremely low. And you cannot just say, okay, now I'm going to cover for the indirect expenses from all my OGX income, right? Because if all of a sudden your government decides that you are not legal as an entity to do outgoing exchange, all your outgoing operations stop, and as an organization, you will immediately stop existing, because you can never ever cover for all the costs that you're making. And I'm going to show you right now how it is calculated. So how is it calculated? What is the percentage that your product should take? Is based on 33% of the percentage of total direct revenue the product is taking, 33% of the total of the direct costs, of the percentage of the direct costs your product is taking, and 33% of the exchange performance. That product is taken as a ratio to the total exchange performance. Now, this may still sound a little bit difficult, so I lined it out for you. Let's say that we have an entity where the total indirect costs are 3,000 euros, right? So we start from the beginning. All the costs that we need to cover for, which cannot directly be related to a product, are 3,000 euros. This entity has a performance of 20 IGV realizations, 30 IGE realizations, and 10 OGV realizations. So a total of 60 realizations. So for example, according to this 20 divided by 60, which is 1/3, 0.333% of the total indirect costs. However, that's only one factor. So only one factor of what it should take is decided by this one. Now, just in the meanwhile, we're going to look at the prices that we have for the different products. You can see them here: 250 for IGV, 300 for IGE, and 250 for OGV. So automatically, your revenue will be 5,000, 9,000, and 2,500 respectively. So here it gets already a little bit more complicated, because take, for example, IGV. IGV in this example is taking a little bit under 1/3 of total revenue. So already you can see, if it would depend on these two factors, IGV should not take 1/3 of total indirect costs, but a little bit less. IGE, on the other hand, should take more than 50%. Am I correct with this? Yes, it should take more than 50%. And OGV should only take a super small proportion, because you only have a small proportion of your total realizations coming from OGV, and only a small proportion of your total revenue coming from OGV. Now, the second factor. Let's go to the third factor. So let's say that the total direct costs for these three products are 5,500 euros, 3,000 euros, and 100 euros. In this example, you can see that IGV's percentage is rising, because it needs to take a large proportion of this factor, while IGE is a little bit less, and OGV should almost take nothing in this example. And this is a really, really normal example of how it works in an entity. I think this can very well happen in Isaac in Austria as well. If I'm not mistaken, this is actually something that has happened last year. So here we have the three factors. Based on these three factors, IGV should take 43% of total indirect costs. IGE should take 46% of total indirect costs. Deal with these amounts, so 1,276, 1,394, and 330. So to which levels do these belong now? Well, I'm going to show you the direct costs of IGV are already higher than the revenue IGV is making. So there's where it starts. It's at level 0, because it cannot cover for its direct costs. IGE direct costs are lower than revenue, so level 1 is achieved. Now, is direct plus indirect cost still lower than the revenue? Yes, it still is. So IGE is level 2. OGV, revenue 2,500 euros. It's higher than 100 in direct costs, and even indirect costs included. You can see that it can still cover, so it's level 2 and level 2. So in this example, your entity is in a bad state. And this is up until last month, this was a state that Isaac in Austria was in as well. We had IGV level 0, IGE level 2, OGV level 2. Actually, IGE was level 1 a month ago. And now both IGV and IGE are level 1. But I'm going to show you how it is possible to very easily possible to change this around. Because in this example, we can see that OGV is extremely profitable, and it only takes a small percentage of indirect costs. So what we want to do is we want to give it a bigger percentage. And what else is here? We see that direct costs are higher than revenue, so we want to decrease the direct costs for IGV as well. Now let's say we're gonna invest less in IGV, and we're gonna invest much more in OGV, right? Which is also gonna have output. So again, total indirect cost 3,000 euros, but this time, due to the investment, OGV is rising from 10 to 50. Right now it's 50% of total realizations. Price stayed is the same, but the revenue here, OGV almost takes 50% of the total revenue, and the other ones stay equal. So here you can see that the other two will definitely decrease in the percentage that it should take, and it's almost half what OGV should take. Going into the direct costs, like we said, we want to decrease the IGV costs, which we did, and we invested 3,000 euros more in OGV, right? So we decreased IGV costs by 1,500, and we increased OGV revenues by 3,000. So basically, the entity is making 4,500 euros more in this example. So how does the percentage allocation look like right now? Right now, it's 23% to IGV, massive drop, just because we dropped only a little in direct costs. The other two stayed the same. IGE takes 31%, also a very big drop, and OGV has risen to 46% in this example, right? So it's taking way more of indirect costs. What does the distribution look like in numbers? It looks like this. It looks 689, 940 for IGE, and 1,372 for OGV. So let's check again. Is IGV, which level is it? Revenue higher than direct costs, so at least level 1. Do we add indirect costs to it? Do we still stay under 5,000? Yes, we stay at 3,689. So IGV level 2. IGE, revenue 9,000, direct cost 3,940, IGE level 2. OGV, 1,215 revenues, direct costs are 4,000, indirect costs are 1,372, OGV level 2. So it is not very difficult to get your products into the right level. You just need to find the right product mix. And even though we've grown a lot in exchange, I can tell you that if you would have grown by the same proportion in IGV, your product, your sustainability levels would have looked very differently. This is because that you're able to and indirect. This is how an example of an entity should look like. In this example, of course, the indirect costs are very low and they should be considered way higher because, if I'm not mistaken, approximately 60%, a little bit less of our total costs are indirect costs. So in this example, they are very low, and that makes the calculations a little bit easier. However, in general, we forget to account when it comes down to the micro level of our products that we need not just to cover for our direct costs, but also for indirect costs. So grow your product smart. Talk to your LCVPs, talk to your LCP about the right ambition that you have with your LC. What are the products that you want to grow in, and why do you want to grow in this, and how does it look for your LC when you grow in these products in this way? So if you need any insights on what the output is for your LC concerning sustainability levels, I would be more than happy to show you how you can calculate them and how you can track them. And in that way, you can understand better on which focus do you need to put in your LC to grow sustainably. Because in the end, Isaac has as a value acting sustainably, and we should all consider that we do not leave our organization in a worse state for future generations. Thank you very much for attending this space. Again, it was a short one, but I hope you learned something from it. And for any questions, just you can come to me, you can contact me. And to close off this space, I want to leave you with the question again. What is the percentage that determines the factor of indirect costs when you look at revenues, so direct revenues? Thank you very much, and I will see you at 7 for the importance of financial understanding space. Have a great evening.